Brant, as we sit here and record this here on Tuesday, November 5th, I know this is kind of on everybody's mind, and I know maybe not everybody wants to talk about this kind of stuff, but I'd be absolutely remiss if I didn't acknowledge how big of a day this is in America. The fact that Brad Holmes just said we're going to go win a Super Bowl is what I'm talking about. Brad Holmes pushes those chips in on Tuesday, November 5th, and says, "Go get me Za'Darius Smith." And on a great deal. Hey, Browns, by the way, why don't you pay the rest of that salary this year? We'll take him for a year after this when Hutch is back. I know that he is, I believe, 32 years old, but that move no, it wasn't Myles Garrett. No, it was not Max Crosby. Those were pipe dreams. We knew it. But Za'Darius Smith is a very good consolation prize. He's an immediate contributor. And to me, this is just such a Brad Holmes move. It was the right move. It was a needed move. He didn't get burnt in a trade by any means. Yes, he gave up a couple of, later round draft picks, but to make that kind of move, I don't know how you criticize that. In fact, I would say the Lions won the trade deadline, arguably with the Chiefs here. What are your thoughts on the move today?
Well, Dave, I saw Za'Darius Smith live in action last weekend, and he looks pretty good. No, that was fantastic that they were able to pull this off with him. Obviously, bringing in a dude like that, he's fighting and scraping and clawing for his own Super Bowl run. You know what I mean? So it's great to pair that up. I think it's a home run by Brad Holmes once again, and he gives his defense a little more versatility as well, Dave. Like, I think that you can run some different fronts. I think that this defense now has taken it up another notch again, and what a dominating performance coming out of Green Bay. And to get some reinforcements like this, it's absolutely massive. And I can only hope that they hang on long enough to get Hutch back for the Super Bowl or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, how awesome would that be? But this team right now is just clicking on all cylinders. And as I continue to watch them, we talk week after week, Dave. This is now the best team in the NFL. I know that the Chiefs scraped by once again, pulling the rabbit out of the hat down in Tampa. But I really feel like this is the best team in the NFL. And every time I look up, it's Jared Goff being 10 of 10, 11 of 11, 12 of 12. Once again, he was the most efficient quarterback in the NFL. He continues to lead this offense flawlessly. And they had the Packers scrambling out there, looking for answers. The defense was confusing. They just put these guys in the right places at the right time, and they don't skip a beat, man. This is the most impressive team in the NFL.
Absolutely. I mean, there's not much to criticize. You've obviously lost Hutch for most likely the rest of the season. You lose Brian Branch, your second best defensive player, and it just didn't matter. It's like these guys just always step up. They know how to win, and it's almost like I feel like watching them on Sundays lately is like the Lions have just cracked the code in the NFL. Like Ben Johnson has cracked the code along with Jared Goff, and it's just rinse, wash, repeat in a very good way. The game seems slow to them. It seems like they just know how to dominate. They're confident. I don't know if it was Xavier McKinney or who it was. Somebody from the Packers. It was a mic'd up moment. Had said, we get to play y'all again. Like basically, they saying like, get ready, Detroit. And it was said to Jared Goff. His response was, yeah, I'm aware. We're in the same division. I know how NFL scheduling works. Just like such a mic drop of I love the confidence, man. It's just like Dan Campbell just bleeding through the pores of all of these guys, and it's hard not to love them.
Dave, this team, it reminds me, it's so funny to say this because when you look at dynasties or you look at really good football teams that have been good for a long time, they don't remind you of like the Chiefs or like when the Colts were really good, making their run with like amazing quarterback play and stuff like that. They actually remind me a lot of the New England dynasty, where it's just efficiency, it's just good defense, it's scheming up every opponent, and just every week in and week out, you win games, maybe by 7 points, maybe by 10, maybe by 13. And if you're a really like a mediocre team, they blow your doors off. And that's just what this team is really starting to feel like. Like you go in every week and you think Detroit, they'll probably give up anywhere from the range of 10 to 17, maybe 20 points at the worst, but they're definitely they're gonna pop for 21, 24, 31. It's just it feels like week in and week out they remind me of those really good New England teams that just go to work every single week, man. And they have that motto like do your job. Like that's what this Detroit Lions team football is exemplifying.
And I just can't get enough of like the post game speeches and the game balls from Dan Campbell that just has, America always on the edge of their seats, just, ready to run through a brick wall for Dan. But it's just like every time there's a game ball out, a player steps up and's got to say something to the team. It's just about love, unity, teamwork, and it is. I know, maybe some people don't want to hear this connection, but for me, I equate it to the Michigan football team last year who won a national championship. There's just a sense of togetherness, a sense of everybody doing their job, like you said, and being on the right page. Right place, right time, disciplined football. And it just seems like they're not going to flinch. That doesn't mean they're not going to lose a couple more games or a few more games. I mean, they've got a tough game against the Texans coming in Houston this Sunday night. And I don't know if they'll win that. We'll see. But do I feel pretty confident, like week in, week out, we're going to see a pretty elite brand of football? Like, yeah, I absolutely do. Have you had a chance to look at what that line is by chance for Lions Texans? Because I have not.
It's really funny that you mentioned that because I was just bringing that up. It's actually Lions favored by 3.5.
Okay.
Does that surprise you?
I got the Texans, I guess, haven't been as good. And I know that they've had some injuries too. They obviously lost Diggs for the year, missed Tinkdell at times. That's probably the right number. Yeah, I guess initially I'm like, on the road, 3.5 seems kind of like a pretty generous line, in favor of the Lions. But if I was betting on it, like I'm probably taking the Lions to cover that 3.5. Like there's no reason not to. I mean, am I wrong?
No, the Lions have been amazing against the spread this year, and I think this is another spot where they can definitely cover that number. And I'm honestly done going. I'm done putting my chips against the Lions. And I mean, I haven't picked them to lose like often, but I have picked them against the spread, and they are just taking it two teams, Dave. And this seems like another spot, another team. You already talked about the weapons that are probably going to be out for this game. It just, you slow Joe Mixon down. You put pressure on C.J. Stroud. We've known C.J. Stroud for a long time, Dave. Like you put the pressure on him, and the wheels will start to break off. And what Detroit does is they put you in that grinder, man. They like to just grind you down. They grind you down. They have long drives. They throw slant routes. They run the ball. They keep things in front of themselves, and they move the ball, long possessions type deal. So, yeah, I love Detroit this weekend in this spot, Dave. And as I look around the NFC, I really don't see right now like a real challenger for the Lions to come out of this conference, Dave. Like, is it the Lions or bust out of this NFC? Or let me ask you: is it Lions in the field?
Yeah, I think it definitely is. I think it will be interesting to see what happens with the 49ers. I think they have been not their best this year. They've been banged up. They are definitely not playing their best brand of football, but I'm not counting them out. They're, expected to get CMC back this weekend, and so we'll see. But absolutely, right now it's Lions against the field, and I think of one word when I think of this team, and it's dominance. And I think we'll continue to see it. And, I'm very excited to check out the new shiny Christmas toy that we just got in Za'Darius Smith this weekend. And we'll have to see how this new look defense holds up against a very good quarterback in CJ Stroud in this Texans offense.